As part of the Holland Park Transformation Project, we are conducting a series of interviews with people who attended the West Ward School that used to be located right in the center of Holland Park. So to begin, why don't you just tell us your name and when you attended West Ward School?
I'm Lorene Gant, and I attended West Ward 1947-48 school year.
Okay. Did you attend any other elementaries after that then?
Yes, I attended Austin School
Okay.
after that.
When, did you have older siblings that also attended West Ward?
Yes, my one sister and two sisters and two brothers
Okay.
attended.
Did they attend West Ward for their entire elementary or just part of it?
No, just a part, and then my dad sent us to Austin School after going to West Ward.
And I know from having lived over on the north part of town that you were a long distance from the school.
Yes.
You
Yes.
lived on the corner of,
Albion and Broadwell.
Okay. and you walked?
We walked across the track and to West Ward School.
Okay. When you walked to school, did you go with your brothers and sisters or other people from the neighborhood?
Both brothers and sisters and the kids in the neighborhood.
Okay. Since you were there for a short time, this may test your memory, but as best you can remember, what was a day like in school for you at West Ward?
As I remember, it was basically starting in the morning with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm not sure if we had prayer or not. I can't remember for sure about that. But then getting right into the studying that we needed for the day. And there was more than one grade in the room, I remember.
What grade were you in?
I was in kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Do you remember who your teacher was?
Miss Mildred Biggs,
Okay.
yes.
So she would have been the only teacher that you actually had for the year you were there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do you remember having any contact with the other teachers?
Not that I remember. I remember the principal was Mrs. Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure about the other teachers. My memory,
Okay.
jogging my memory.
Do you have any memory of any activities in your class that stood out? Either routine activities or perhaps something connected with a holiday, like Thanksgiving or Halloween, Christmas, anything like that?
Oh, I remember celebrating the holidays. I'm not sure how it was structured as to whether we went to school, the vacation time. I'm not really sure, but I remember the holidays and celebrating them.
Do you remember ever seeing any kind of discipline administered by a teacher?
Yes, yes, there was like a little ruler, and if you misbehaved, she would kind of pound you on the hand with just like a regular 12-inch ruler, right?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember there being a janitor, a custodian?
Not that I remember.
Okay. In addition to your in-school, did you ever have any contact with your teacher outside of school?
I'm not really sure. I might have seen her like in a church service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of Bethel or one of the other churches.
Okay.
I might have seen her there, but that would be the only thing I remember.
Did you ever have a substitute teacher?
No,
No, okay.
no, I don't remember a substitute.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something you probably do remember. Do you remember recess
Oh,
or
yes,
outdoor things?
yes.
What's your memory of recess at Westward?
Let's see, maybe like baseball, the swing set, or were there swing sets?
Yeah.
Okay. Just the basic kids' activities, like I said, baseball. I don't remember football.
Right.
And the swings and
Mhm.
slide, that type of thing.
Okay,
Right.
okay. When you just think about the school overall, what impression did you have? Like, was it cheerful? Was it gloomy? Cold, warm, comfortable, uncomfortable?
I would say cheerful, comfortable, because at that age, I think everything is good.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't see the bad things.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Okay.
I mean, it was a good experience.
When back to outdoor activities, were you ever aware of smoke from the factories or smells coming from the factory?
Not that I remember,
Okay.
no.
Now, people that I've talked to already mentioned safety patrol. Do you remember any safety patrol or any other kind of group that was organized within the school?
I think I vaguely remember safety patrol, maybe the kids with the little orange or yellow vest and just kind of directing us across the street, coming back towards, well, it would have been Albion Street, coming back to North Albion Street.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, since you were there earlier, I want to ask you about fifth grade camp. Well, let me ask you, when you transferred to Austin,
Uh-huh.
did you notice any difference? Was there a difference in going to the two schools?
And, well, one thing I did notice, there were a lot more students at Austin. And that, it was a good environment. I tend to, my husband always says that I see things through rose-colored glasses, but, but I tend to see the good thing rather than the negative.
Okay.
And so it was a good experience at both schools.
Mhm.
Good experience.
So you were at Austin in fifth grade.
Right.
Do you recall either going or hearing discussions about fifth grade camp
Fifth grade.
at
Yes,
Clear Lake, I think?
yes,
Did you go?
I did.
Okay,
I
you
did.
remember that experience?
Yes, I'm thinking that there was swimming, the lunches, let's see. A lot of activities.
Yeah. Did you, when you were there, do you recall them telling you the story about Paul Bunyan and taking you for a hike through the woods where supposedly there was this big footprint in the ground? Do you remember that? Anything like that?
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe they didn't do it when you were there.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I remember hearing of Paul Bunyan.
Mhm.
Now, whether there was, we might have seen a footprint or something, but, I did remember hearing
Yeah.
about all that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And at fifth grade camp, there were kids from all the schools, right?
Right,
Okay. Is that your,
yes,
Yeah.
yes, not just,
not just Austin?
right,
Okay.
not just all the schools, right.
So there was interaction with kids from all of the other elementaries there.
Right.
Do you recall any, when you're back at school, events that involved kids from other schools interacting, like from West Ward, Austin, or Rempel, in any kind of activity? And you may not.
Not that I remember.
Okay. Okay. Back to West Ward in kindergarten. Do you remember any kind of, well, what do you remember about lunch?
Oh boy, lunch. I don't remember if we took lunch. I'm thinking that would probably be what we did, was just took a lunch. My mom probably packed a lunch.
Mm-hmm. Because it's given where you lived, I don't imagine you walking home for lunch and coming back.
No, I don't think we did that. We did that going to Washington Gardner.
Right.
But not
Not-
to West Ward.
Okay.
So we would have probably taken a lunch.
Yeah. Do you recall the school providing any kind of snack or nutrition break during the course of the day?
Not that I remember.
Okay. You just said you tend to see things through rose-colored lenses. I'm like that too. Did you ever notice anything, I'll ask you anyway, about the building itself that struck you as, this needs to be fixed, or this is broken, or anything like that?
Not that I remember. There might have been, but I don't remember, like, you mean like a window broken or?
Or anything. It could be something inside, or a brick falling out that you happen, or something with the steps. Anything.
Not that I remember.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you had Miss Biggs for kindergarten, and do you remember coming into or going out of the building for recess?
Yes.
I would imagine that would have been the exit that faces Dalrymple Street, and the swings would have been to your left as you come out the door.
Okay.
Do you remember any trees being on the school ground?
Trees. There must have been, there had to be some, I'm thinking on the north side,
Mm-hmm.
the north side, maybe a couple trees.
When you come out?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Do you remember where you would hang your coat, leave your boots, like a cloakroom or coat room? Not realize you were just in a kindergarten. Yeah.
It seems like they're, if I remember right, like a place on the wall, they had the hooks.
Mhm.
And what area that was in, I'm not really sure, but I kind of remember, and you just hang
Hang
your
the
coat
coat.
over the hook there on the wall.
Okay.
I think.
Were you aware that there was a basement to the school, or did you ever go into the basement?
A basement?
Yeah,
No.
there was a room.
No. I don't
Okay.
remember the basement.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
What about books? Do you recall anything about your books, or if they were new or not? And maybe at that grade you didn't have to deal with too many books.
Right. I'm not sure, because my sister that's next to me would be 4 years older, so she would have had books. But I don't remember
Okay.
books.
Now, years later, let's see, I guess you would still have been in Austin, but do you recall hearing any discussions with your family now about them going to close West Ward School, or anything about some people keeping their children home in protest, or anything like that? And it would have probably been your parents just talking that you would have heard anything. Oh,
Not that I remember. I think later on, years later,
yeah,
I heard something, but not
at the time.
at that time, right?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so, since everybody in your family had moved to Austin by then, they weren't involved in the boycott itself. You already answered this, but you can maybe state it another way. When you look back, like after you've been in high school, and you think back on your experience at West Ward, how do you see that?
It was a good experience. It was, and I've always been excited about learning, about school. And I always liked school. So it was a good experience for me. It was a learning experience. It was good.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, you said that you started in 47.
47.
Now, where did your family move from to come to Allen?
From Southern Illinois.
Oh, yeah?
I was born in Mounds, Illinois. It's about that big.
Okay.
And some of my siblings, my dad and mom, moved from Arkansas.
Okay.
So the older kids were born in Arkansas, then they moved to Southern Illinois. And I'm the youngest, so I was born in Southern Illinois. The others were born in Arkansas.
Do you know what led to the move to Albion?
Probably job opportunities. My dad and mom were always farmers, and I think they had heard some other people from our area had moved to Michigan, and like Jackson, Battle Creek, Albion, and we just happened to come to Albion. He just decided. The one family had moved to Albion, the McGee's, and my dad decided he'd move to Albion.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what kind of work did he do?
He worked for Union Steel in
Oh,
the
okay.
factory.
Mhm.
He got hired at Union Steel, and he worked there until he retired.
Was he able to continue any aspect of farming here as well, or did he just work in the factory?
No, my mom always, on the house on the corner of Alvin Broadwell, the property went all the way back to where the Northview homes are now. And all the space in between there and the other side, the south side, was my mom's garden. It was huge.
Oh, I remember.
You remember?
I didn't know if he had an additional property somewhere else as well or not.
No, that was basically it.
Do you remember what kind of things he used to grow?
Oh
Your
my,
mom?
tomatoes, okra, peppers, potatoes, you name it, she grew it. Squash, watermelon, cantaloupe. Yes.
Yeah,
She
okay.
always, and we always complained about having to go out early in the morning and pull weeds.
That's
Yes.
before school?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. No, I remember that was a sizable garden you guys had.
It was
Yeah.
quite a garden, and she'd have hundreds of jars of canning, that That was what she did.
Now, what kind of heating did you have in your house?
In the early years, we had coal. My dad he had a coal furnace,
Okay,
and that was the way the house was heated.
okay.
And
Now, did you have a basement?
yes, we lived in the basement for a few years, and then he finished the upper part of the
Oh,
house.
so your dad built the
Yes.
house himself?
Uh-huh,
Okay.
yes.
So, when you first came to Albion, did he come in advance of the family, or?
When we first came, we lived on Adams Street. And then we later moved to Mallory Street. We lived in the house where the Petersons live now.
Okay.
We lived there, and that's when he started to build. He did the basement on
Mhm.
Albion Street. We were in the basement for probably a couple of years, and then he finished the upper.
Okay, so when you started at Westward,
Uh-huh.
where were you living? In the basement? Oh,
In the basement, yes,
okay, okay.
yes. Uh-huh.
So, given what you just described, and your mom, her job was running the house.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So when she was canning,
Mhm.
she did all that at first on coal and wood stove?
That's right, it would have been.
Yeah.
Let me see. Because it would have been a while before we had the gas,
Mhm.
the gas stove, so it was basically with the coal.
Yeah, okay.
The heating and cooking, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, see, from Illinois.
Boy, I'm going way back.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, all right, I know your sister Ida,
Uh-huh.
and I can't remember your brother's name.
Fred was the
Fred.
oldest. Fred, Roosevelt, and Clarence.
Okay.
And then my sisters were Elizabeth. I had two sisters that got married before I was born.
Okay.
Well, one before I was born, and the other one when I was like 4, my other sister. So I had 3, and my brother Fred got married before I was born. So I had 3 siblings that were married before we came to Albion.
Okay.
So it was actually only 5 of us that made the move. And then the others, well, my oldest brother and my oldest sister had moved to Battle Creek. And the other sister that got married stayed in Southern Illinois
Okay.
and raised her family there. So it was 5 of us that came to Albion.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about you a little bit. So you finished high school here.
Right.
Then what do you do?
I basically attended, I took business courses in high school. I attended Jackson, at that time it was Jackson Business University. Now it's Jackson, it's a different name now.
Americana.
Right, and I did Kellogg, KCC for a while. My work history, I worked State Farm Insurance for probably 10 to 12 years. I worked at Albion College and Eaton Corporation in Marshall.
Okay.
That was my last permanent employment. Then I worked for Manpower for a few years after that.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
So do you have some questions for Lorene?
Thinking more about your childhood in growing up in almost a rural setting, it sounds like. Was there much development around where your mother's garden was, or in those days? Many houses?
Yes, I remember, because my older siblings would tell us about the farm. I don't remember a lot about the farm. I remember, because I would have been, almost 6 when we moved to Albion. I remember some of the process of farming, but being my age, I didn't really get into a lot of the things that they did. they would tell me about my dad's smokehouse where he smoked the meat and that type of thing, but I don't really remember a lot of that. I remember being there, but not a lot of the process.
So, but you were, when you were in, when you came to Albion and your mother's large garden, and that is almost farm territory in that day.
Right.
So did he continue the smokehouse and those sorts of activities after you came to Albion?
Not really. Now, when we came to Albion, it was kind of like a little like a rural area because there was none of the housing on Broadwell, nothing, there was woods, all the way back to Eaton Street, as a matter of fact, was just woods. The Northview wasn't there, what's the other, Lincolnshire, none of that was there, that was all woods.
Yeah. The city dump used to be there.
Yes, the city dump where McIntosh Park is, that was the city dump, I remember that.
Yeah.
But basically all in that area was, there was no
Cooper
house.
Street, Dean Drive, none of that.
None of that.
So did you have to walk through the garbage area to get out, to be able to get to school?
No, we
Was that
went,
not your path?
Albion Street, okay,
Okay.
when going to West Ward, we would go straight down Albion Street across the railroad track. When going to Austin, we would go Albion Street to Austin, and then we went through the park and on to Washington Gardner, through,
Kroll Park?
let's see,
Coral Park.
Right.
The one with the water?
Right, where the water tower is. We went
That's a
Albion
long
to
way.
Austin, right, and through the park and on to Washington Gardner,
Yeah.
right. And
Yes.
Austin School, we just went, Albion to Austin and then turned on to Clinton.
Yeah.
So, do you know anything about the thinking when they changed you to go to Austin? Was it because you were closer, or?
Yes, my dad went to the school board and when he discovered that Austin School was there, and he said, well, why are my kids going to,
Westward.
West Ward, and there's a school right here, so he switched us to Austin.
'Cause that was only a few blocks as compared to a mile.
Right,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
And they were good with that,
Yes, yes, they said, okay, so that's where we
because
went.
it sounded like when I've heard the discussions about what occurred with the Dalrymple Westward story, they weren't quite that willing to make those kinds of decisions for the students that lived closer to Dalrymple. They still were pulling them into
'Cause,
Westward.
yeah, it was different because I lived even farther west than she did
That's
when I
right.
moved in the project.
Okay.
And I was supposed to go to Austin for my 6th grade year. And I had asked my mom to intervene so I could finish with my friends and
Okay.
do my last year at Westmore. So I continued to make that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
It was only for that 1 year, then I was going to junior high.
okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, I was way down from you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, were you the youngest, Bob? Were you in your family to?
Oh, yeah.
So you were the last of the family argument for changing the westward experience.
I mean, I had requested to go for my last year, and then there was never any more need for any more discussion because I was gone. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And, because when you were talking about the wilderness aspect of it,
Right.
when we moved into our unit, across the street was completely undeveloped. No Dean Drive,
That's right. Cooper.
no Cooper Street extension. Well, Cooper Street was there. And there were houses far down to the north. But Dean Drive and all those streets over there, the dump was just a little ways past that and just under Lincolnshire, I would say.
That's right.
Yeah, because we used to go over, like on holidays when it was closed, we'd go over to play in the dump and track animals in the snow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it was just all wilderness. There was a big place, we used to call it Cold Valley. This big valley up, I'm trying to think what it would, I guess where Beamer Street comes down.
Oh.
And through there, way back in there, and
Okay.
it was this big scooped out valley, we called it, and it was just all grass with the woods on the end.
Oh.
But we could walk
Yeah.
from the end of the projects,
Okay.
we could walk way out and never see a street.
Okay.
It was just wooded, yeah. It was great.
It was.
So what was the year that you moved? When did they build that housing?
It was completed and we moved in 1952.
Okay. Has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
predated all the urban renewal
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Changes.
yeah.
considerably.
Because, no, we left, I think we were living on Culver Street. And, so no, the entire neighborhood was still intact.
Mhm.
And
I
then,
remember that.
yeah, and we moved, and yeah, so that was 52. So it was there for another 12 years at least before renewal.
Okay.
So you would have lived in your home in the area while they were building
Right.
that area?
Yes, I remember when they started the construction. Right.
Do you remember when they started the construction for I-94?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I remember that was a muddy mess. for a while.
Oh, it was. It
Yeah.
was. And being a child, you think, wow, what in the world are they doing?
Yeah, just tearing up
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but I remember before '94, going to Detroit, all the way on the back road.
Yeah.
You went through all the little towns and
Yeah.
to get to Detroit.
Or anywhere else.
Or anywhere else, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's been a while.
yeah,
That's been some years.
many,
Uh-huh.
many.
So you were young enough when you made the transition from Illinois that you don't remember having, we spoke with one woman that was taken when she was was brought to Michigan when she was a little older and never quite made the adjustment to coming north. That it was more disorienting, it appears, for her than it seems to have been for you.
Right, right.
So do you remember discussions among your parents about
Not-
the differences of living in the north and living?
Oh, well, I would hear my older siblings talk about, where we lived before and so forth, and what they did, the farming and so forth. But, I had a happy childhood. I was always happy.
Me too.
Did you help your mom a lot around besides weeding? Do you remember other household chores
Oh, yes.
and I'm always interested in the domestic labor of women and just how different it is now with the
Oh.
washing and the laundry and the,
Yeah, we did everything. My mom made sure all of her daughters could sew. We knew how to clean the house, wash the clothes, iron the clothes, everything. We did every cooking. She made, and my brothers also, they could cook way back. And I'm going, okay, this was good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you agreed to come in.
All right, me too.
Yeah. That's good.
This was good.